We brought Schalke back to the Bundesliga, so the question is, who will sink and who will swim? I can't swim. There was a little over 8 million to spend, but a huge increase in my wage budget. Until I received a reality check and saw everyone's earnings increase significantly. Trying to keep everyone capped at 50k per week was difficult, causing me to pass on certain targets. With Baumgartel gone, Greimel needed a partner to avoid getting the shaft defensively. That brought in Moritz Jens for around 9 million. It was a lot of our budget, even with the sale of Ibrahim Cisse. Several were loaned out, including a few of our attackers, and Falcao retiring.
Hola, soy Falcao.
Promising names arrived, such as U17 World Cup winner Max Morstedt and the slightly shorter Nelson Whiteburn. Tim Goller came in as well to potentially be our future #1 keeper. Speaking of that, our first Bundesliga fixture was fast approaching, but Casteels decided to consider his options at the end of his contract. Right after, I offered him a new one. That led to Sevilla agreeing a deal with us, bringing in significant profit on a free transfer. We said Auf Wiedersehen and were near the completion of Dennis Seeman's move from Stuttgart. What do you mean we don't have enough funds? No, I forgot about the transfer revenue. I delayed this transfer for weeks, hoping I could make it work, but Stuttgart grew tired and our board wasn't willing to budge. Thankfully, Lorenzo Montipo wasn't a bad plan B. Schalke's first Bundesliga match in over 800 days had some bumps along the way, which also included Keke Top's injury. But the issue initially looked like our back line. However, Montipo was ready to make a big save on his debut. While I was wondering why Udogie was on loan at Frankfurt, they had a throw in on the other side, where Greimel did brilliant work to prevent Mario Götze from scoring on his weak foot. We responded swiftly with Nelson hitting the post. Prior to halftime, Lorenzo Luca does what he does best and causes a nuisance for defenders, winning a penalty. Surprisingly, Wiper took the ball from him and scored our first goal. That's how it ended, handing our first point against the future Conference League finalists. It was a mixed start to the season with mid-table expected, but at home to Cologne, we made things difficult for ourselves and wasted crucial chances. Then much later on, out of nothing, Montipo let in Lacou's strike from distance, and we missed another chance to eventually lose. A win was still missing, but we got lucky that our next opponent Stuttgart decided to play Baumgartel. He was ecstatic about the reunion, and so was I, but for different reasons. A dominant performance with 3 goals from Viper, Uidraogo, and Osmani, 2 of which were assisted by last season's signing, Filip Rejcik. The Polish wonder kid from Legia Warsaw arrived for 2.6 million and earned himself a starting spot with Aletu gone. However, our squad depth was a problem. A handful of players brought it up, leading to 2 loans, Marco Stamenik from Manchester City and Chelsea's Cole Palmer, to hopefully fix the issue. What do you mean you're pissed, Ron Schallenberg? I fixed the left back? Since when did you ever mention left back?
I don't know the name, but the Mensa Senile.
Funnily enough, Ron, I have a solution. For the most part, matches in the early going were tight. Several 1-0s, including a loss to Mainz, who weren't as fraudulent this time, Palmer's debut goal versus Wolfsburg for a win, and adding another with Anton Stach deflecting Matriciani's strike. Scoring was a glaring issue though, specifically Luca, who hadn't gotten one. Was he just a second division merchant? The 4-2-2 narrow derby with RB Leipzig was next, and we were in store for a great match. Wait, Montipo got injured by cutting his hand? Was he not wearing his gloves? Hold on, wasn't he volunteering at the Italian deli last night? You cut your hand while shaving some prosciutto, weren't you? He still started. In this much anticipated encounter, Leipzig initially took us lightly, as Stejskal made a horrendous pass to the returning Top, who immediately found Luca for the opener. Welcome back, Lorenzo. Not you, Keke. Immediately after winning the ball from kickoff, Lorenzo nearly got an instant brace. Sadly, that woke up Leipzig, as Brunner gives the ball cheaply, leading to Amos finding Werner, who then connects to a sprinting Openda. The momentum was with them, as Homo launched Werner into action.
As he rolls it in, and Timo Werner has fluffed his lines.
Yet we kept the majority of the possession, which might have been our opponent's plan. Brunner loses the ball to Amos, and pretty quickly, he finds Werner, leaving our keeper in no man's land. Even Timo wasn't missing that. Now, why do I have my sweeper keeper on attack? I don't know. Regardless, a retort was needed in the second half, and Ouedraogo would aid in that, finding Osmani in behind for the equalizer.
Boom! Yes!
Why stop there though? Ooh, mistake. Viper. Ouedraogo.
Let's go!
A win was on the cards, but mistakes was the name of the game, as Matriciani clearly made the wrong decision and Leipzig capitalized with Šeško's equalizer. A Bundesliga classic, or show, both work in my eyes. Now unfortunately, Marco Rose would leave for Tottenham, making our rivalry with Leipzig boring as Stefan Kuntz uses a 4-2-3-1. Although, we did defeat them later on in the campaign thanks to a Lorenzo Luca brace. On going through the rest of the Hinrunde, draws followed with Heidenheim and surprisingly, Bayern Munich. They've been iffy, making no transfers, knocked out of the Champions League outright, and Tuchel claiming their aim is continental football. What a great life! Getting paid more and doing your job worse. We're beginning to earn more victories with 3 in 5. One included Lee grabbing a brace late, and then eventually getting injured. Then injured again, which does not include the injuries from earlier. Also, Luka grabbed a hat-trick versus Fortuna Düsseldorf. Through 14 match days, Köln and Dortmund looked like the clear front-runners for the league. That was until the first Revier derby. Dortmund are Schalke's biggest rivals, with both clubs from the Ruhr region in Germany. The first fixture played between the two was a win by Schalke on May 3rd, 1925. 100 years, 7 months, and 3 days later, the two would finally face off. Who'd score the first goal? Well, what about the local boy, Ouedraogo? Dortmund were not fully fit, as they had an intense 1-1 draw with Köln a few days prior. It was showing, as they didn't seem focused, while we were dialed in. Luka made it 2 only 20 minutes in, taunting the away fans and bringing joy to the Royal Blues. Dortmund continued to stink it up, and a little before the half, top.
Oh, the ball, Luka! 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 versus Dortmund.
Despite Malen scoring right after, nothing occurred in the remaining 45 as we got the bragging rights and were in 5th place. 2 successive victories followed in the Hinrunde, including a dominant performance versus Gladbach, moving us into 4th, which was insane. Although I'm perplexed on Köln on how they're still in 1st place. Our incredible job led to a new contract, which was nice, before losing to Köln. Looking into them, I'm surprised how well some of their players were doing, such as Linton Mina and Mark Tillman. But a big factor had to be their back line. Could they keep it up? It's not my problem. The start to the Rückrunde was rough, which included a loss to Frankfurt, another to Wolfsburg, and drawing Stuttgart. The only win was versus Mainz, and that's thanks to 20-year-old Taylan Bulut, who came out of nowhere to find a brace in the last 10 minutes. Did I mention that he's a right back? As Brunner ages, he will play more. A painful moment was being eliminated in the DFB Pokal 3rd round to the Cockroaches of Greuther Fürth. Still haven't beaten them in my time in charge. The underwhelming form fixed itself up with 3 victories in a row, including that Leipzig triumph. 25 matches were played by the beginning of March, seeing us remain in 4th. But it seemed like Bayern began a resurgence, and Köln fell back to earth. The January transfer window was the Bavarians' turning point, with Saudi Arabia signing Leroy Sané for almost 200 million? Are you kidding me? On deadline day, they bought Savio. Jesper Lindstrom for at least 72 million. He's alright. My youth academy player for some reason. And Benjamin Šeško, where he barely played because, of course, Harry Kane is still here. Did I have a chance in Munich? Well, my game plan was going fine, till Brunner just gave the ball for the opener. It stayed 1-0 for a while, but Musiala pulled off an insane pass to hand us a 2-0 L. European football was possible with 8 games left. However, these fixtures needed some help from news sources. 2-2 at home to Bochum in the final 10 minutes, where we blew a 2-0 lead. But Wittek would help us out by getting sent off. A man advantage with so many tall players in the box, Brunner would find Max Murstedt for the winner. He and Viper earned more time due to injuries elsewhere, which saw a Max brace versus Darmstadt, and a goal from him and Viper in a 2-1 away win at Dusseldorf. Unfortunately, Luka's goal wasn't enough against Freiburg in the sole loss of this section. Big love to Lorenzo though, who was our top scorer this season with 16, only 1 less than Harry Kane. The table still had us in 4th, but only up on goal difference over 2 other clubs, and Leipzig were resurging as well. Continental qualification was likely until this happened against Leverkusen. We just started the match. Ouedraogo seeing red was a shame after his fantastic season. 7 goals and 9 assists saw him develop further, but will we be able to keep him long term? Despite being down to 10 men, a miracle occurred as Raychik's out of nowhere free kick made it 1-0. Could we defend for 90 minutes? No, we couldn't. Leverkusen had a lot of turmoil in this adventure, sacking 3 managers, with Marcelino being the latest appointment. I think this moment summed their situation pretty well. Somehow, we were 2-1 up and actually defended impressively for the longest time. However, in the 84th minute, Włodarczyk found an equalizer. A minute later, Boniface would do the same as we collapsed. It's not like we'd be able to do anything, even if Leverkusen allowed us a free kick and to win a header and to score off another to equalize in the 90th minute. Wait, we equalized? A point somehow earned, but it dropped us down to 5th, and without Ouedraogo in the ill-placed Riviera derby, we were absolutely demolished by Dortmund. Augsburg were defeated on the penultimate matchday thanks to the returning youngster, which put us in a tricky situation. The last game of the season was away at Borussia Mönchengladbach. We could no longer finish in 4th and potentially drop all the way down to 7th. I would be fine with Conference League football, which is 7th, but if Werder Bremen defeat RB Leipzig in the DFB Pokal final, that would no longer be a European place. We lost to Gladbach 1-0, which meant that was our position. Nevertheless, a successful season as a newly promoted side, with a lot of room to grow. Although, that meant we regrettably had to cheer for Leipzig in the cup final. And they thankfully won with these 2 bozos missing a header in the 93rd minute. Let's go, Conference League!